Communications Incorporated. Welcome to News Desk 45 minutes of news from Liberia and other parts of the world. Today is Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. This is Marka Davis presenting. This news program is powered by Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited. In the top stories we are following tonight, amid ongoing crisis in Lebanon, government of Liberia announces an emergency evacuation plans to bring back Liberians residing in that country. Former presidential candidate Tiawan Gonglo sparks huge public debate with his call for the cancellation of graduation fees, as Dr. Benjamin White, head of school principals, calls on the lawyer to retract his call. Liberia National Police confirmed the arrest of at least 5 persons linked to the crime of armed robbery in Monrovia. And of the home front, Tunisian President Kais Saied wins second term with more than 90% in an election hugely criticized by rights groups, according to the BBC. The details of these developments, including the bulletin of news, voices of the newsmakers, sports, are all part of this presentation of News Desk. We're taking a short break to be back. With Nakita Roberts. Good evening.
Good evening, Maka, and good evening, everyone. President Joseph Boakai has, by proclamation, declared this Wednesday, October 8, 2024, as World Poster Day, to be celebrated as a working holiday. The president's proclamation is in condolence with the Universal Postal Union established in 1874 to improve postal services worldwide. According to a foreign ministry release, the day's celebration will be held under the theme 150 years of enabling communication and empowering people across the nation. President Boakai in the proclamation made that mandate the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunication to set up programs befitting the day. The Executive Mansion Declaration, meanwhile, called on all relevant ministries, agencies, and international organizations to cooperate with the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunication to execute an appropriate program to make the day's observance meaningful. The Liberia government has announced an emergency evacuation plans to bring back Liberians residing in Lebanon. Deputy Information Minister for Public Affairs Daniel Sano said the government decision is due to ongoing crisis in the states of Israel and Hezbollah. Prior to the government decision, the World Health Organization, according to the BBC, reported that there have been 36 attacks on health facilities, killing 77 health workers and injuring 74 others. As a result of the situation, the government has called on Liberians with relatives and friends in Lebanon to provide relevant documentations at the local session of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Minister Sanders said the documents requested by the government is intended to process Liberians in Lebanon for immediate evacuation. At least 5 persons linked to the crime of armed robbery have been arrested by the Liberian National Police in Monrovia. During a disclosure on Tuesday, the anti-robbery unit of the police said the suspected armed robbers were arrested in Congo Town on Thursday, October 3, 2024. According to police spokeswoman Madam Cecilia Clark, those arrested are Emmanuel Johnson alias Wallace, Alfred Labelle alias Yodas Puyo, Junior Bono alias Prince, Maleka Izzy alias Promise, and Limon Tobar. She said they were arrested while allegedly armed robbing a Chinese national identified as Joseph Young, a resident of Congo Town. The police spokeswoman said, according to the preliminary investigation, the suspects on Friday, September 13, 2024, at about 2 a.m., broke into victim Joseph Young's home, placed him and his wife on a gunpoint, and made away with an unspecified amount of cash and other valuables. The Environmental Protection Agency has announced Liberia's participation in the upcoming 16th meeting of the Conference of Parties, COP16. EPA Executive Director Emmanuel Yapawolo said the UN Convention on Biological Diversity, which is expected to take place in Cali, Colombia, will run from the 21st of October to the 1st of November 2024. Speaking at the Ministry of Information regular press briefing on Tuesday, Dr. Yapawolo disclosed that the global conference will discuss the challenges and opportunities Liberia faces and will recognize biodiversity's critical role in economic, food security, climate stability, and planetary health. According to the EPA boss, the conference will also be a key moment for Liberia to present its updated national climate action plans under the Paris Agreement, which are due by the early 2025. In another development, the Environmental Protection Agency has released an investigative report from the landslide in Lofa County, disclosing there was no casualties and injuries, but the impact on local lives was severe. The landslide took place in Kaliman Town, Lofa, that's Foya District, Lofa County, on September 17, 2024. According to Dr. Emmanuel Yapawolo, the report follows an investigation conducted by a team comprising members from the EPA, the Ministry of Mines and Energy, and the National Disaster Management Agency. Criminal Code A has released the Guinean national who was arrested in Liberia for reportedly planning to overthrow the government of Guinea through the Liberia-Guinea borders. Judge Roosevelt Willie on Tuesday released defendant Ibrahim Khalif Sharif on bail after defense lawyer led by former Associate Justice Kabina Janin filed a motion to admit his claims on bail as provided by Chapter 13, Section 13.1 of the Criminal Procedural Law of Liberia. Judge Willie's decision claimed that proof is not evident and presumption is great, meaning states a lawyer failed to provide all evidence they reportedly seized from the defendant during his arrest. Our judicial correspondent further revealed that former Associate Justice Councillor Kabina Jane and Councillor Amara Sharif served as human sureties, and all of the defendant's travel documents were that's turned over to the court despite presenting a violent criminal bond. Defendant Khalid released comes a day after a government lawyer returned some of the 115,000 United States dollars cash to the court that was seized from him. State lawyer submitted only 2,208 United States dollars of that amount to the court, including one vehicle, but failed to produce another military weapon. The Liberia Electricity Corporation says it has begun consultations with the energy company of Ghana to help stabilize the issue of power supply in Liberia as the country moves towards the dry season. According to an LEC statement during the meeting, all parties reaffirmed their commitment to ensure stated power supply from Ghana to Liberia. Currently, electricity supply remains relatively stable, but as the dry season is approaching, concerns are growing in Liberia. It can be recalled in August of this year, the Ivorian government, a member of the CLSG Power Sharing Network, issued a warning to cut off Liberia power supply if the country fails to settle its substantial debts. Western Cluster Liberia Limited has introduced Indian rice farming in Bombing County, a significant move aimed at diversifying the company's operation and supporting local farmers. Although primarily known for its mining activities, the company is now venturing into agriculture with a focus on rice farming. This was made known to journalists by the CEO of Western Cluster Liberia Limited, Joseph Shaw, over the weekend, explaining that's the rationale behind the decision. He said even though the main focus is mining, they believe it is equally important to contribute to the agricultural sector. Chilo noted that agriculture is the backbone of any sustainable economy, and Western Cluster wants to be part of that process in Bomi County. In a related development, Western Cluster has signed a memorandum of understanding with the government hospital in Bomi County to support ambulances there. The company said this is in a bid to enhance health care services in Bomi County. RCI investigation has revealed that the decision of Chief Justice Tiana Young to withdraw public defendants from all magisterial courts in Montserrat County has increased the pressure of fake lawyers at the courts. Our judicial correspondent said public defendants who are regarded as poor man lawyers are assigned at various circuit and magisterial courts in the country under the National Public Defender programs of the judiciary, and that's the judiciary to provide free legal services for poor people. But on October 1st, 2024, Chief Justice Young instructed the national coordinator of the Public Defenders Program, Councilor Joseph Dabe, to recall all public defendants assigned to various magisterial courts in Montserrat County to report for reassignments. Third, the priest of the High Court did not give any reason for the withdrawal of the lawyers, but they were reassigned at sacred courts in Montserrat County, thereby leaving all magisterial courts with several fake lawyers. Some of the affected magisterial courts are Artington, West Point, that's Broadville, Pinsville, Bannersville, St. Paul Bridge, the Monrovia City Court, among others. Our judicial correspondent said the Public Defenders Program was established in 2008 by the judiciary with the objective of providing free legal service for poor people at various circuit and magisterial courts in the country. In an election And away from Liberia, in an election that was criticized by Rice Group, Tanzania's President Cash Shed has won a second term with more than 90% of the vote, the Electoral Commission has said. Only two candidates out of the more than dozen other aspirants were allowed to stand against President Siad, and Sunday's ballot were only 29% of the more than 9 million registered voters took part. Shed's closest challenger, businessman Ayashid Damild, won 7% of the votes, despite being sentenced to 12 years in prison for falsifying documents just 5 days before the poll. There were no campaign rallies or public debates, and nearly all the campaign's posters in the streets were backing the president. 5 political parties had urged people to boycott the elections in the belief that they would not be free or fair. Tunisia was where a wave of pro-democracy protests in the Arab world began in the late 2010. Ousting long-term autocrat Zeld Abidad Ben Ali the following year. The North African country was seen as a beacon of democracy in the region. And that's RCN News Bulletin. It's back to you, Maka.
Joining us, you're listening to 45 minutes of news from the News and Current Affairs Department here at the Renaissance Communications Incorporated. In one of the top stories we are following tonight, former presidential candidate Tiawan Gonglu sparks huge public debates with his call for the cancellation of graduation fees as Dr. Benjamin Way, head of principals in Liberia, calls on a lawyer to retract his call. In our first development tonight, the Liberian government has announced an emergency evacuation plans to bring back Liberians residing in Lebanon. Deputy Information Minister for Public Affairs Daniel Sanders said the government's decision is due to ongoing crisis in the state of Israel and Hezbollah. Prior to the government's decision, the World Health Organization, according to the BBC, reported that there have been 36 attacks on health facilities, killing 77 health workers and injuring 74 others. As a result of the situation, the government has called on Liberians with relatives and friends in Lebanon to provide relevant documentations at the legal section of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Dana Sandos spoke Tuesday at the Ministry of Information's regular press briefing.
From Lebanon. The action is necessitated by the ongoing planning between the state of Israel and the Hezbollah militant group around the world. The government calls on all Nigerians for relatives and friends currently in Lebanon to come forward with their name, contact information, and current location to represent. Leave details at the legal section of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The requested information is crucial for governments and partners to track and prioritize individuals for the evacuation process. Given the urgency of the situation, it's imperative that citizens respond promptly as there is limited time to facilitate this evacuation operation. While the government is currently working with an estimated fee of 50 million to recognize that the additional agreements in the Lebanon who attacks on the government's profile registration list. The ongoing hostilities poses a significant threat to the safety and security of Liberians in the Lebanon.
He is Deputy Information Minister for Public Affairs Daniel Sanders there making that declaration on Tuesday in Monrovia. At least 5 persons linked to the crime of armed robbery have been arrested by the Liberia National Police in Monrovia. During a disclosure on Tuesday, the anti-robbery unit of the police said the suspected armed robbers were arrested in Congo Town on Thursday, October 3. According to police spokeswoman Madam Cecilia Clark, those arrested are Emmanuel Johnson, Alfred Labla, Junior Bono, Malika Ize, among others. She said they were arrested while allegedly armed robbing a Chinese national identified as Joseph Yu, a resident of Congo Town. Cecilia Clark spoke to Arasia News on Tuesday.
The anti-robbery unit of the Liberia National Police on Thursday, October 3, 2024, arrested suspects Emmanuel Johnson, alias Wallace, Alfred Labla, alias Puyo, Junior Bonner, alias Prince Malaki, Ize, alias Promise, and Limu Taba for allegedly armed robbery in Chinese national identified Joseph Yu in the Chinese national is a resident of Congo Town. There were actually 5 suspected armed robbers. So they were arrested, and during police preliminary investigation, the family revealed that 2 incidents took place at the time, one in October and one in September. In September, they successfully armed the Chinese national, and it took some unspecified amounts. The amount is not in value here though, but they took a lot of money from him, and then they played the second time to go and rob him, and that is when they were arrested, and they were arrested in 2 vehicles, one Nissan Sedan with all lesson plates, and the other one a taxi also. of a plate PX03201. They were sent while plainly they already conspired to go and rob the environment. Before the action could go on, they were nabbed by police officers. They are currently here at the police headquarters. When you see the photo, you see a lady. The items that were confiscated from them, she had a Dazipa, and according to the investigation, it revealed that she's the one always working and victim or victims when you go on that armed robbery spree.
She is the official spokesperson of the Liberia National Police, Cecilia Clark, there, confirming the arrest of at least 5 persons linked to the crime of armed robbery in Monrovia. To enhance digital security and streamline the identification process in the country, the Liberia Telecommunications Authority and the National Identification Registry have signed a memorandum of understanding. The MOU will ensure the free registration of national identification cards. Under the LTA regulations, all SIM card owners must register their SIM cards with their respective mobile network operators using their unique NRR-issued identification cards. Liberia Telecommunication Authority Acting Chairman Abdullah Kamara said the MOU signing is a significant step towards integrating advanced biometric identification systems into Liberia's telecommunications infrastructure.
This MOU is going to trigger the full verification and registration of 3.5 million Liberians in the next 9 months. It is not just about simple registration. It is also about ensuring that the foundational database of the Republic of Liberia can be fully equipped with accurate information about people. It is so important that LTA, leading this digital transformation, we cannot actually achieve a full digital society or digital economy if there is no foundational database. Everything you do, when your health insurance, health care service, financial services, even database of convicts. So before you employ somebody, you may want to check that thing they call police record clearance. You may want to check whether there is any record of that particular individual. That's why the capturing of your biometric is very, very important for this whole exercise. We are not doing it for SIM registration. It is a cardinal part of the SIM registration. But most importantly, it is to ensure that we have the foundational database that will support digital transformation of Liberia.
For his part, National Identification Registry Director General Andrew Peters said the collaboration is a crucial step in fostering the national database. He said the National Identification Registry will ensure a continuous and secured registration process for all citizens, adding that new identification cards issued by the registry will serve as a single point of verification for various services.
As the National Identification Registry and the LTA conclude this signing ceremony with memorandum of understanding for the registration of SIM and road card with the support of various marks, I wish to briefly share with some of the important benefits having a skill biometric identification system. Efficient public service will create a centralized database of citizens, residents, streamline access to public service such as healthcare, education, social welfare. The efficiency reduces bureaucracy and ensures timely service. Enhance security and law enforcement by accurately identifying individuals. The aim will help law enforcement agencies prevent and investigate crimes. It will also aid tracking down criminals and managing security threats more effectively. It will facilitate financial services by providing a reliable means of identification. Citizens can open bank accounts, asset credit, and participate in formal financial systems, contributing to national economy. Accurate identification ensures fair and free, transparent election. This helps prevent voter trucking, election fraud, ensure that eligible citizens can exercise their right to vote. I should not be understood that it's just an ordinary SIM card registration, but it brings on the table a lot of benefit to the government. We encourage all of the MMO to fully participate in government.
Yes, Andrew Peters, that's Director General of the National Identification Registry. Earlier on, you listened to the acting chairman of the Liberia Telecommunications Authority, Abdullah Kamara. They spoke at the signing of a memorandum of understanding in Monrovia to enhance digital security and streamline the identification process in the country. The Environmental Protection Agency has announced Liberia's participation in the upcoming 16th meeting of the Conference of Parties. EP Executive Director Dr. Emmanuel Yapawolo said the UN Convention on Biological Diversity, which is expected to take place in Cali, Colombia, will run from 21 October to 1st of November this year. Speaking at the Ministry of Information on Tuesday, Dr. Yapawolo disclosed that the global conference will discuss the challenges and opportunities Liberia faces and will recognize biodiversity's critical role in the economy, food security, climate stability, and planetary health.
Music City. The head of the group, Ethan Ground, said the training teams.
Well, we apologize. We cannot bring you that except to this development, a mother of a 7-year-old boy who was born without private parts is appealing to the Liberian government, philanthropists, and well-meaning individuals to help her son seek medication. Salome Moba, mother of the 7-year-old, said her son lacks several organs. As a result, he always urinates on himself. Speaking to reporters on Tuesday in Monrovia, Moba disclosed that she was advised by doctors to take her son out of the country for surgery. Well, you're listening to News Dex on Truth 96.1 FM. In more news, the administrator of the Bong Mines Hospital in Lower Bong County, Clarence David, has lauded Bong County Senator Prince Moy and representative for the family for their support to the health facility. Recently, the Office of Senator Moy, in partnership with the National Social Security and Welfare Corporation and Liberian Doctors Without Borders, launched a surgical outreach at the Bong Mines Hospital. According to McLaren's David, the outreach began in Salala and Totota, with patients who needed surgeries being transferred to the Bong Mines Hospital.
From a goodwill gesture, the Honorable Senator of Bong County, Honorable Prince Moy, along with the National Social Security and Welfare Corporation, NASCO, in collaboration with Liberian Doctors Without Borders and other members of the Liberian Doctors Association in Liberia, they had this joint collaboration and started to help citizens of former. And so they were here last week for 2 days and carried on hour-to-hour surgical operation for people with severe cases and diseases at Beaumont Hospital. The outreach started with consultation from Salala and Totota, and those patients that needed surgeries were now sent to Beaumont Hospital because at this lower part of Bong County, this is the only referral hospital that is here.
Meanwhile, the Bong Mines Hospital administrator paid special homage to Bong County District 7 representative for the family for sponsoring the extra outreach at the hospital outside of government funding. McLaren's David revealed that the Office of Representative Family, in collaboration with the Angie's Memorial Surgical Foundation, recently carried out an outreach relieving many residents of their health conditions.
The honorary representative of this district is very magnanimous to the people who elected him. He has been sponsoring our outreach, our extra outreach outside of government perimeter, that is government sponsorship. He has been sponsoring outreach, and our staff have been going out and in the field when our staff meets patients who need operation. He only writes the call and to get material. This is a government hospital. We don't charge here. However, if we have some material that we need that are not available, we inform him and then he gives us the funding for us to get those materials.
He is the administrator of the Bong Mines Hospital in Bong County, McLaren's David, there speaking. At this point, we cross over now to Naomi Tapia to bring us sports tonight. Good evening, Naomi.
Good evening, Martha. Good evening, everyone. With 8 days to the official kickoff of the Liberia Football Association National First Division League 2024-5 season, several Liberian referees on Tuesday, October 8, 2024, completed another intensive self-training session at the SKD participation in Kingsville City. Our reporter Edwin T. Batapoyan visited the training section and now he reports.
On September 17, 2024, it had 1 kilometer. With just a week to the official start of the Orange First Division 2024-2025 campaign, a group of professional Liberian referees on Tuesday morning completed their 35th training section at the SKD practice bay in Plains City. The head of the group, Ephraim Ground, said the training intends to keep the referee in a better physical condition for international and national assignment by the Confederation of African Football (CAF) and the Liberia Football Association. Ground, a FIFA badge assistant referee, further call on other referees to join them in training to prepare for the upcoming league campaign. For the players, they can have break, but for referee, we don't. So when the league closes, we'll continue our session, and since then we have been training actively, we don't have a break. Okay, so we stay prepared. We don't prepare, but we stay prepared because anytime we can have international appointment, we can have local appointment. So we stay prepared. We know that it is essential to remain prepared because the teams, the stakeholders, they expect much more from us as a referee. Okay, to the rest of the referees out there, that is Lifa Lash. We want to encourage you if you have the time to come and train with us. The entire referee body are aware of this group, Team SWAT, and we have been here since then. So we encourage everyone who want to stay fit to come and join us. Also speaking, FIFA badge referee Savannah Garnett encourages all female referees to take the profession more seriously, adding that it is challenging for females to be professional referees, something she believes can only be achieved based on hard work and consistency. She has been explaining more to our CS post. I've said occasionally female referees who are shown because this sport is a male sport, and if you have women doing it, we have to be very strong and be almost like them, compare ourselves to them because in the terms of fitness, because it's very difficult. So the first thing you have passion. If you don't have passion for the sport, you won't be ready to always be no time to do what you want to do because no passion is there. You want to take it, get go and train, all that. I mean, you want to do money for activities, it won't be okay. But for me, passion. That's passion can be better. So I talk to them, encourage the females, the younger ones, that have passion, always be there to train and get fitness because fitness matters a lot. I'm a FIFA referee. When the league is closed, cap of FIFA is not yet closed. I say I have international assignment. Anytime you get sent for me, I'll be on my toes at all times to get on the book. So I will keep training. So it's a bit difficult for us, and we are still fortunate. What impact will they training for your career? Yeah. I mean, it has a great impact because if I don't train, I don't get the way I want to get. Because training, you have to be fit. Fitness matters a lot. You have to be fit. So it helped me to be fit, how to keep on time. And I have international assignment, national process, I'll be on time and go there and perform well. Referees who were in attendance were FIFA badge referees Love Wuyi, Hannah Moses, and Tracy, among others. The 2024-2025 Orange First Division League season will officially commence on the 16th of October across 7 venues in Liberia. At the Antenna Tottenham Sports Stadium, FC Facile and Bay Mountain will meet face-to-face in what believes to be a mouth-watering match. All eyes will be on the referee. As the season gears up, the referee played a major role in controlling the game as we held to the 2024-2025 league season on October 16. More focus will be on the performance of those referees. Reporting for RCS Sports, I'm Edwin Batterfront.
Many thanks to Edwin Batapoyan for the report. Liberia Basketball Association First Division champion Mighty Barrow was defeated to Ali with a whopping 98 to 53 points in Libya Tripoli. The match was part of preparation for the 2024 Basketball Africa League preliminary quarterfinals, which begins on Thursday, October 10 in Tripoli. Barrow is expected to begin their Group B joining against Abidjan Basketball Club (ABC). The Liberian Club will have to be among the best performers if they are to qualify for the Elite 16, which is slated for next month in Africa. This edition of the Basketball Africa League is the first for a Liberian club after several years of being prevented from participating by the Federation of International Basketball Association (FIBA) due to the internal wrangling that lasted for years. Meanwhile, the Royals player Brian Nangwe has joined the team in Libya from China to boost the squad. Nangwe, who was a member of the Barrow team that won the championship in 2023, arrived in Tripoli on Tuesday for the competition. Barrow has termed his return to the squad as great advantage, and then away from Liberia, Spain World Cup winner Andres Iniesta has retired from playing at the age of 40. Iniesta is widely regarded as one of the greatest players in history, thanks in part to the Mayfield partnership he formed with Xavi Hernandez and Sergio Busquets for Spain and Barca. That's all from our sports desk.
Is a regular feature here on News Desk. In more news tonight, former presidential candidate Tiawan Gonglos called for the cancellation of graduation fees in Liberia has sparked out huge public debate with renowned school administrator Dr. Benjamin Way calling on the lawyer to retract his statement. Dr. Way, president of the National Principal Association of Liberia, argued that Councillor Tiawan Gonglos' call was inappropriate, urging him to amend his position on the matter.
I am the president of the National Principal Association responsible for school administrative practices, and that is where my argument this morning comes from. Councillor Gonglo's assertion about cancellation, underscoring the word cancellation of graduation fees was a word inappropriately used, and I think he needs to come back and withdraw that and amend his comment. I'm speaking like we are in court now. Councillor Gonglo's comment was looking at graduation fees through the lens of educational accessibility. But what Councillor Gonglo failed to realize also, as president of the Bar Association in this country, he did not address issues of access to legal representation and justice. I give you an example. The Ministry of Education is on record for regularizing graduation fees across Liberia. And as we speak, we as members of the Principal Association have endeavored to abide by that regulation, which is a standard across the world. Councillor Gonglo's comment about not paying graduation fee in Liberia is fake, and I still stand to counter that argument. It's not the school he attended was subsidized, and he alluded to that he received textbooks, he received materials during those days, and he even said $100 equivalent at the time. I don't know for what purpose. So Councillor Gonglo did not call on President Joseph Boakai to subsidize the school to give textbooks. Councillor Gonglo went on to even name the services that are provided for graduation fees. He named rental of halls, materials, and chairs. But let's go back to the legal profession that don't rent halls, materials, and chairs. The court is there paid by government, they go to the court. The average fee for a lawyer service per hour range between 50 to 100 United States dollars.
He is the president of the National Principals Association of Liberia, Dr. Benjamin Way, there disagreeing with Councillor Tiawan Gonglo's call for the cancellation of graduation fees in the country. While the call by the renowned Liberian lawyer has created huge public debates, with many siding with him, while others believe the graduation fees are meant to facilitate the ceremonies. The Crest Embassy Vocational School has graduated over 840 Liberians with various capacity building skills. The school on Tuesday graduated over 800 persons from its various sites with specialties in tailoring, interior decoration, construction, beauty care, plumbing, soap making, among others. Serving as guest speaker at the 8th convocation on Tuesday in Painesville, Madam Yvonne Welly Brunel admonished the graduates to utilize the skills gained to impart the society.
Excellent brings with it of deep conviction that with God's guidance, those who are living shift for multiple. You will encounter moments of uncertainty and doubt. But remember the example of Caleb. When you face your giant, choose faith over fear. Trust that God has equipped you with everything you need to succeed and lean on Him when the journey becomes tough. The scripture says, Caleb followed God fully. He was not half-hearted or hesitant in his obedience. Inner excellence is the act of a heart that is fully committed not just to achieving goals or meeting expectations, but to building a life of integrity, honesty, and purpose. Graduates, as we move forward, I encourage you to live with a full level of devotion. Excellence is not simply about reaching the top. It's about giving your best to everything you do. Whether in your relationship, in your business, in your career, or walk with God, follow God fully.
For part, the principal of the school, Madam Seba Mason Wa, lauded the founder and overseer of the Christ Embassy Church, Pastor Chris Oyakilomi, and its country pastor, Afra Mason, for the vision in contributing to human capacity development in Liberia.
As the principal of the Interconnected Mission Liberia, Christ Embassy Vocational School, I, Madam Seba Rebecca Mason Wa, I have the honor to present to you 840 women and men of the 7th cycle of the Interconnected Mission Liberia, Christ Embassy Vocational School, for the period of
Madam Seba Mason Wa is the head of the Christ Embassy Vocational School. They're speaking earlier on. You listen to the guest speaker, Madam Yvonne Willie Brunel. They spoke during the graduation of over 840 students today in Painesville. Well, this is how we love to draw the curtains on tonight's presentation of News Decks. But before we go, a recap of the top stories we followed. Amid ongoing crisis in Lebanon, government of Liberia announces an emergency evacuation plans to bring back Liberians residing in that country. Former presidential candidate Tiawan Gonglo sparked huge public debate with his call for the cancellation of graduation fees, as Dr. Benjamin Way, head of school principals in Liberia, called on the lawyer to retract his call. Liberia National Police confirms the arrest of at least 5 persons linked to the crime of armed robbery in Monrovia. And of the home front, Tunisian President Kais Saied wins second term with more than 90% in an election hugely criticized by rights groups, according to the BBC. Many thanks to all of you for your listening role. Thanks to our reporters, correspondents, and all those who helped to make this edition of News Decks a success. Thanks to affiliate radio stations across the country for relaying the newscast. Nakita Roberts read for us the bulletin of news tonight. Naomi Tapia brought us posts on News Decks. John Silva Torman Sarah control and coordinated the sounds. Myean Torgbean, as usual, has been behind the cameras. My name is Marka Davis, your presenter. Good night.